some black people in this world really don't like black people. Hello, all my VIPs. I wanted to talk in this video about blackness, colorism, and words that I didn't hear about or ever heard of until this year, like reverse colorism and ambiguously black. I was like, what even are those words? What are those terms? I know words in the dictionary are made up anyway, but these are even more made up terms. Like, what are we doing? I'm holding my phone with my hand because I can't prop up it because my case is being washed and whatnot. So, anyways, yeah, I wanted to talk about that because I've been seeing videos and whatnot when it comes to the idea of colorism, and then when it comes to like black people literally claiming in whatever podcast and whatever videos that they have that they want to appear a sort of black that isn't black much at all. Like, they're as tan as this cereal box right here. On the camera it doesn't really show it justice, but it's like they want to be basically this beige. When I tell you that there are people all over the world who wouldn't even accept this color of skin tone, it's crazy to me. Like, people around the world, or some people around the world, it doesn't matter if you are light skinned as hell. If you are not that race in some other countries and some other like nations and whatnot, if you're not their race or if you're not their skin tone, they won't really like you. So it's odd to see that people, especially in America, it'd be weird to me. I'll be like, you don't want to be black? That's odd. And maybe it's just like, for me it would be harder to understand because I am not a dark skinned black. I am a light skinned black, and I have siblings who are dark skinned black. I have a family that's like different. They're brown skin, light skin, dark skin, and all those shades and whatnot. So growing up, it's like I never really encountered people who hated being black because literally I grew up in a family full of black people who don't make it like, oh, the conversation is, oh yeah, I don't like being black. They don't ever say that shit. They don't ever say that shit. Like, are you kidding me? And I never focused on anything like that. Just for a background, I was a big girl who loved food, watching TV, and playing with my siblings. And they were all black. We're all black. I didn't grow up with anyone hating their own race. So it's like it becomes even weirder when I get older and I hear even more about how people don't even like their own race at all. Like, I'm just like, how could you not? Like, how could you not? Like, what? But I do understand that there are people who have been discriminated against so aggressively and shit like that, to where it's just like, yeah, they don't want to be their own race because they've been told their whole life their own race is terrible, their skin tone is terrible. They've been told their whole life about that. And it's like, despite all that, it still does seem weird to me just not wanting to be your own race because of the discrimination. In fact, that should make you want to be your own race even more, because people are so bothered by your existence. You live rent free in other people's heads and stuff like that. They're giving you so much power by letting you be rent free in their head. Like, I turned the fan down some, but what point was on? But yeah, growing up, I started hearing more about black people who didn't like being black at all. They wanted to be of a lighter skin shade. They wanted to be like not at all their race in general. That growing up, it freaked me out. It was just like, oh, this is weird. This is very weird. Me as a black person in general, like, of course, discrimination, but not as much as my darker counterparts and whatnot. Like, seeing the shit was even weirder. I was like, you would have people who are not my race at all, white, or like, Latino or Southern American in general, like, belittling my own race. You'll have people of my own race belittling themselves and some shit like that. Calling somebody midnight. The class ain't even started. Why the fuck are you calling somebody midnight? You're dark too. Like, what? Or you're lighter skinned and you're calling somebody midnight, but you're both fully black. And you're calling them that as an insult. What? It's like growing up, that shit blew my mind. I'm just like, I did not grow up around this shit, because in elementary school and whatnot, like, I had a mixture of like, black kids, white kids, mainly black and white kids, and some, Southern American or even Asian kids and whatnot. I grew up around both parts, and me being so naive when I was a kid, I didn't pay attention to that shit because I was just like, man, I get to go home with my family of all shades and whatnot, and we didn't talk about like, oh yeah, blackness in general. It's not the main conversation of our entire lives when I was a kid. So growing up and getting older and then encountering some people who just didn't like the race in general and would bash me because they didn't like my race and they are my race, or people who would like who aren't my race but has so much to say about my race. It's like, ew. Like, no, why are you so focused on that shit? Like, like, and now that I'm this big age and shit like that, bigger, no, I'm just kidding, I'm fucking 20. But now that I'm this like big age of 20 and some shit like that, growing up I realized I don't like people in general. Like, that's not good. That's not good to just not like people in general. But I realized that it's because I've encountered everyone of different races who just, their personality would fucking kill their whole view, their whole character for me. It didn't matter what race they were. I've encountered people of my same skin tone dislike me for no reason, or dislike their own race when they even tell me that they're fully black. I've seen people of darker skin shades who don't like their own race even though they're fully black. Who don't like my uh I'd say my race. Why am I repeating myself? My bad. But yeah, and white people who didn't like black people but had so much to say about them. Latinos who didn't like black people had so much to say about them. Even Asians, but had so much to say about black people. Like, why are we in your mouth all the time? Like, bro, go get a hamburger, stuff your mouth with something else, so it's sustenance or some shit like that. You over here just making us y'all whole talk of the day. Like, but yeah, it just weirded me out. And then I'm gonna get into terms like reverse colorism, which is not a thing. It's, why was that even, what? That shit confused me. The more I hear about it, which is a total of 3 times, this is the 3rd time I've heard about it, and I've seen it on YouTube. I was just like, oh fuck no, what is this? What is this? I've already heard of colorism. I know what colorism is, but reverse colorism, where it's like, oh yeah, light skins are saying that dark skins are discriminating against them. No, like what? No, no, no. If I'm gonna be honest with you, that I don't think that would be colorism or reverse colorism at all. In fact, wait, let me get into the gist of it. I feel like there are black people who just don't like the race in general, not dark skinned people hating on light skinned people specifically and all that type of shit. Like, no, 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 no. In fact, I've seen more light skinned people in my life literally bash and hate not only their own race but people over darker skin tone. And you know what? I've seen a lot of people make insults like that midnight joke I talked about earlier that someone said to somebody else. A lot of times it was mostly light skinned people saying that to darker skinned people. You know? Not the other way around. In fact, most of the time I don't even see much of any dark skinned people honestly hate on light skinned people at all. Honestly, I see dark skinned people hating on other dark skinned people more than I see dark skinned people hating on lighter skinned people. Like, it's like it's not a thing. Like, that's so weird. It's like a term that was made. It's like the All Lives Matter versus Black Lives Matter movement. It's like a response to the original thing because you're offended about the original thing. That's what it feels like, you know. And then ambiguously black, that's a term I heard literally just now before I made this video. What is that? What is that? I'm looking in the camera in your eyes. What is that? What is that? I don't know what the fuck that is. Ambiguously black. I I'm not gonna look up the definition because hell no. But yeah, I'm guessing it's like, oh yeah, you're black, but you don't look like it, or you don't look as black as you really are, which is like, that is the stupidest thing I have had to hear this damn morning. It's the afternoon, but this damn morning. That's the stupidest thing I had to hear. And I'm laughing because it's stupid, not because it's actually genuinely funny. It's just dumb. It's unbelievably dumb. One, why would you ever want to look less black? See, it'd be these people who like want to look even less black, but then when you ask them about like, oh yeah, your family members or their family members, not your family members, and they talk about how much they love them and how beautiful they are, and their family members be their skin shade or darker and whatnot, and I'd be like, okay, how can you grow up around people who are your skin shade or darker and you love them so much and you think they're beautiful, but then you yourself are still claiming that you do not want to be as black as you are? How can you think they're beautiful, but you yourself still don't want to be anything like that, anything like them? That's what? Huh? Like, no, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. Why would you want to be less than what you are? Why would you want to be less than what you are? Literally, if I would be honest with you, this is genetics. You don't ask to be born the race that you are. You just are born that way. Like, you know, so for this many people to have a problem with looking like it is, looking, sorry, I'm making ugly ass faces, my bad. It sucks. It's awful to hear. Like, it's really disgusting to hear, actually, if I'm gonna be honest with you. In fact, I already thought it was disgusting when in history growing up each year, each classroom of history, you know, having to hear that, oh yeah, you know, the reason why anyone's race in general was, like, you know, put into slavery, but mostly in American history, black people were put into slavery because literally their skin tone, and they were genetically born to appear darker. That's why they were in slavery. To hear that shit, do you know how unbelievably stupid that is? To enslave an entire race because they were born to look a certain way. Like, huh? That doesn't make any sense. And then you realize that, like, oh yeah, in the history books they would claim, like, oh yeah, they used them for labor. They knew that black people had the same amount of limbs. They knew that black people bleed red. They knew that black people had hearts, had brains, had eyes, had all the things that normal humans have, but they still saw them as less than human or not human at all. It's like, bro, we're not aliens. We literally have everything you have. We're human too, but you still discriminated against us because we look darker than you. That is so stupid. And now to grow up and still have the same talk and still have the same conversation and still have people not want to appear darker or just brown in general. They don't even want to be brown. They want to be the same color as that cereal box I showed earlier. And it's like, why? What? Literally, why? Like, no, man. No. That's so dumb to me. In fact, no, it's so sad. It's not dumb, it's sad. Some people, they tell you the reason, and it's literally self-hatred and whatnot because of the amount of discrimination they got as they got older, amount of people who were just saying that they're ugly because they're literally born to look a certain way or born to look some type of way, and now it's like somehow a problem. It's not a problem. It never was a problem. That person has an issue. That person hates themselves. That's why they're hating on you. Like, you know, that's the thing. That's all I had to say, though. Oh my gosh. Sorry, this is a long conversation. The air's in the background. Sorry. And May. Oh my gosh, my face. I'm wearing my thing off because I woke up like this, but it's okay. I'm gonna change it in a bit. But anyway, may peace be with you for an eternity.